Now, Xcel Energy tells us it was called to the scene just after 12:30 this afternoon for a reported gas leak. But a welcome update from the school just a little while ago. All students are doing okay, so that's some great news.
The FBI says Colorado has seen a spike in bank robberies in the past 5 years. But prosecutors say the crimes also get solved at a high rate. That's partly because the FBI gives flashy nicknames to alleged robbers that help keep them in the public's eye.
Well, this parade is a long-standing tradition, a place to come and celebrate with your friends and family. But one group is calling attention to the 134 Colorado families who lost someone last year to impaired or distracted drivers. Countless Broncos fans might be used to sitting under snow, rain, maybe even hail here at Empower Field. Now, we're hoping that's not the case for this weekend, but there are safety protocols in place just in case we see a situation like the Cowboys and the Eagles saw last night.
Well, more than 70 flights are already canceled at Denver International Airport today, but as the transportation secretary threatens even more flight reductions, officials say operations at DIA are still pretty good right now, seeing pretty low impact. Take a look at this, the live wait time board for East and West security. Those times looking pretty ideal right now. If you're still just showing up to the airport, you won't wait any longer than 7 minutes, so that's pretty good. And we spoke with United Airlines earlier today. They said you won't have to show up to the airport blind. If your flight is canceled because of that federal order, you'll know ahead of time. 42 United flights in or out of Denver were taken off the board today. United said international flights and flights to another hub are not impacted. But as far as how hectic the airport feels right now, officials compared the disruptions to just a minor snowstorm. When they have to cut 10% of flights next week, it will feel a little more like a medium-sized snowstorm. What's different now, these cancellations are happening at the 40 busiest airports across the country all at the same time and for multiple days in a row. Now United says it's doing what it can to get people to their destinations.
Over 50% of those customers that were affected are already rebooked and getting to their destination within 4 hours of their original time. They're really looking at what is the locations that have the least amount of impact, and we have other availability to get our customers to those locations.
Just a few hours ago, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy hinted at potentially cutting 20% of flights if the federal government shutdown goes beyond next week. All of this comes as federal workers are not getting their paychecks. So to help, DIA says it started a food drive for its 1,800 federal workers here, which it says is going pretty well so far, with some donation bins even overflowing. So if you'd like to help out, you can drop off non-perishable foods and other essential items at DIA's cell phone lot, or you can drop it off right here at the airport at the info booth in the Great Hall.
In a hearing Friday afternoon for 48-year-old Jason Eaton, we learned more about a potential timeline as the parties move toward a trial. At the same time, dozens of people wearing keffiyehs flooded the courtroom to stand in solidarity with the 3 Palestinian-American students who were shot last November. It was the biggest rescue operation police in Killington have seen in a long time. The police chief tells me the cold mixed with the amount of people made for a tough rescue, but in the end, I'm told it was a successful operation. Staff at the Boquet Valley Central School District Lakeview campus say the building is quite literally crumbling, with ceiling tiles falling and lead in the drinking water. And teachers hope voters will approve Proposition 1, which would give the green light to a new building.
Yes, Lauren, that final hour of voting was very busy. In fact, there were still some people entering the parking lot up until about 5 minutes before 7 o'clock. And as you mentioned, the people in line prior to 7 still get to vote. We did just look inside a couple minutes ago, and there was still a line pretty much to the door. So thankfully, everyone in line still gets to vote.
The Vermont Sheriff's Association is calling for the immediate resignation of Franklin County Sheriff John Grismore. Now, this comes less than a week after Grismore was decertified by the Vermont Criminal Justice Council. And Grismore also had the chance to testify in front of that impeachment committee for the first time today, and he maintained that what he did was necessary. Now, Sheriff Anderson added that he thinks Grismore's actions have resulted in an overall lack of confidence in law enforcement throughout the state. But Grismore did note that he was elected after the information of last summer's incident was already in the eye of the public. Now, it's unlikely that the committee's investigation will conclude before the upcoming legislative session starts, but we'll continue to keep you updated on this process. Well, Lauren, the entire school community is starting to get excited at the sight of the steel framework on the new Burlington High School starting to go up at the site right here behind me. And earlier today, those 6th graders with Edmonds Middle School got to take a tour of the construction grounds, and some were very eager to learn about their new school. And if you do the math, it's this group of students that will be the first graduating class of the new high school. Now, construction company Whiting Turner, architectural designers, and school officials were on site to answer any questions the students had. Now, this class is also part of a design and technology course, so it was very fitting that they got to see the construction process with their own eyes, as well as 3D mock-ups of what the school will look like. I spoke to some students who say they're looking forward to starting 9th grade in a few years.
I think it's pretty amazing that we get this experience and being able to be here today.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty cool being at the site, and you can see like all the things being built.
And it's just like the progress is vast from how there's a huge high school here and now there's basically nothing.
Burlington School Board Chairperson Claire Wool was also at the tour this afternoon. She noted anyone can drive by the project site, that's 52 Institute Road, to check out the progress. And Wool tells me she's thankful to the school community and to the Burlington voters that approved this project.
We speak and breathe education. So for our one and only high school here in the city of Burlington, I believe the energy is seen through the voters that showed up and approved the bond to build this school, and the passionate educators that we have throughout Chittenden County that serve our Burlington School District.
She says this project has been 7 years in the making. Now, demolition crews ran into a few problems along the way that delayed the process, but now that Whiting Turner is starting to build the project from the ground up, the school is expected to be done in 2026, just in time for those students to start as high school freshmen. State police say they've identified the child's parents, but say no charges will be filed. This case dates back to April 1st, 1982, when some children waiting for a bus found the body of the newborn. A local reverend gave him the name Matthew Isaac Doe, and there was a funeral for him. But the child's true identity and his parents remained a mystery. That started to change in 2020 when state police partnered with a DNA technology company, Parabon Nanolabs. ABC 22 covered this story as a Mystery in the Mountains segment in 2021. That's when Parabon gave state police possible names of the parents who had ties to the area at the time. Investigators say they talked to the mother, who admitted to dumping the baby. She said she didn't know she was pregnant at the time and said the baby boy was stillborn. The mother said she wanted to give the baby a proper burial in the woods, but said she heard voices, got scared, and left the baby behind. Detectives believe the mother is telling the truth.
The detectives, they sat down and spoke with her for quite an extended period of time. They were able to get a lot of details from her, and then, being able to spend the time with her, speaking to her, and understanding the situation from her view. There's really nothing that would cause us not to believe her.
Police say the father was away for an extended amount of time and didn't know about any of this. The Washington County State's attorney says the statute of limitations has passed on potential charges of illegal disposal of a body and says murder charges are not warranted. So no charges will be filed again, and we will not learn the names of Matthew Isaac Doe's biological parents. State police calling this decades-old cold case officially closed. Live in the newsroom, Isabel Schonemann, ABC 22 News. Emergency crews are just now letting us take a closer look at that crashed propane tanker in the Black River in Irisburg. As you can see, the flames behind me are still burning very high, and the fire chief says they're now letting the gas burn off. Long days and nights for fire and emergency crews, keeping an eye on the flames around the clock. A propane tanker crashed into the river around 6:40 Monday morning, engulfing the bridge in flames.
We figure there's about 7,000 gallons of liquid in there right now. It started out at 10,000.
Irisburg Fire Chief Robin Beaton says crews are letting the gas burn in order to empty the tank to make it safe to get the truck out of the water. The worry, once the flames go out, the integrity of the bridge.
The bridge beams we're finding that 3 of them are bent, assorted, so we have a pretty good feeling that the bridge is no good now.
Meanwhile, Haley Shelifo and her family, who live across the street from the crash site, are still displaced, now staying in a hotel. Shelifo tells me her mom was the first to call 911 as she woke up to the noise of the crash.
My bedroom window faces the bridge, and then there was a huge explosion, which honestly is something that you would only really think about hearing in a movie.
She says that morning felt surreal.
I look out my window and I say, oh my God, the bridge is on fire. That's all you could see. Flames were coming underneath the bridge, over top the bridge.
Shelifo says she didn't have time to think about grabbing any belongings. Her family of 6 raced to evacuate, while Shelifo tried to find out if the driver was okay.
I threw on my boots. I actually went out in exactly what I'm wearing right now. I still haven't been able to change. And I just ran out and then I started yelling, hello, is anyone there? Can you hear me? You know, because the driver was our #1 priority, trying to see if they were okay, which at the time we didn't know if he even made it out.
Thankfully, the driver, 44-year-old Casey McQuaid, made it out safely. Now, Shelifo and her family are worried about the condition of their house. She says the power went out and she doesn't know if the pipes will freeze.
We can't go home. We have a guinea pig that's actually at home right now, so we're hoping that he's going to be okay.
Chief Beaton says the risk of further explosions has diminished, and fire crews will stay in the area for the next few days, saying everything should be, quote, back to normal by the end of the week. The fire chief says it could take another 1 to 2 days for the propane to burn off and the flames to go out. Meanwhile, crews are working on getting a temporary bridge installed to allow for 1 lane of traffic. This year marks 40 years since Heidi Martin was found dead in Heartland. That anniversary was just last week. She was killed after going out for a jog on a rural road by herself. Her sister, April Stone, is now trying to bring awareness to the safety of young athletes as they practice alone, hoping to get a track field built in her sister's honor, but also for future generations to have a safe place to train. Fighting for safety in a small town, 40 years after a family tragedy.
It's been a very long journey. A very long journey.
April Stone is finding light after her big sister was killed. On May 20th, 1984, 16-year-old Heidi Martin went for her regular jog, but she never came home. The next day, Martin was found stabbed and drowned in a brook behind the Heartland Elementary School, a case that remains unsolved.
I am very hopeful that there will be a solution or an answer or a suspect that's arrested in my lifetime.
Heidi Martin was a student at Hartford High School on the cross-country ski and track teams. Her obituary asked for a memorial, and 4 decades later, plans are finally in sight. A track field in her honor.
We're 2024, and this school does not and has never had a track field. And I think that would have made a world of difference that day if my sister had had a track field to come to jog that day instead of a rural road in Heartland. I think I wouldn't be standing here today.
That's what Stone hopes to bring awareness to, safety while practicing alone.
The majority of the students are still living in rural areas. They're still having to practice jogging down rural roads.
She says she wants students to be able to have a school with new and safe accommodations. This is where the high school plans to build the track field in honor of Heidi Martin, here at the Maxfield Sports Complex. But for April Stone, it's not solely about spreading her sister's name.
It really doesn't matter to me if our sister's name is on a big plaque. I'm really doing this, again, just for the safety for the students, in memory and honor of her.
Stone is ensuring her big sister is not forgotten.
Her legacy lives on in all of us, and us not forgetting about her. I'm hoping that someday people will remember not how she died, but how she lived and who she was as a person.
We covered Heidi Martin's case in a Mystery in the Mountains segment 3 years ago. To find out more, you can click on this story on mychamplainvalley.com. And if you have any information about her case, you can contact the Vermont State Police Major Crime Unit. Live in the studio, Isabel Schonemann, Fox 44 News.